Today we are going to review some genetics concepts. Mendel discovered why organisms sometimes look like the parents. Inside every cell in an organism, there is a nucleus, and inside the nucleus, there are chromosomes which are made up of DNA, which are the genetic instructions for everything. DNA is responsible for your eye and hair color, as well as determining just how tall you might be, or how your nose is shaped. A person has 23 pairs of chromosomes. They get one set from their mom, and one set from their dad.
Each of these chromosomes codes for many different genes. On each chromosome, there is a spot called an allele. This allele is actually what codes for the gene. So we use letters to represent the alleles given to us from each parent. Does it make sense that when coding for a particular trait, that we say we have two letters? We might get a big B from mom and get a small b from dad. Genetics is really cool once you understand how it works. Okay, so I'm confused on the terms dominant and recessive.
Dominant traits are those traits that will always show up when they are present. Remember, we get two letters, one from each parent. So if we have a big B and a little b, we will see a big B. Recessive traits refer to those traits that only show up when one allele is paired up with another recessive allele. This is like getting a small b from your mom and a small b from your dad. Then we will see the recessive trait. Now, if an organism has two of the same letter that represents any given trait, then that is known as being a purebred, or being homozygous. But if an organism has both, a big B and a little b, then that trait is hybrid, or heterozygous. Do you understand this so far?
I think I get it. Yeah, Hercules.
Why do we need to know if we are homozygous or heterozygous for any particular trait? I will tell you why. If you're homozygous, then you know what gene you give up to your offspring, but if you are heterozygous, you never know which gene you give up. This becomes a sticky subject when looking at not wanting to pass on certain traits because of the negative side of things. An example might be if a person has a condition in which his blood doesn't clot correctly. This is a recessive trait and he is a purebred for that trait. If he marries a woman who is heterozygous for that trait, then their offspring has the chances of having that bad trait. Whereas, if the woman was homozygous dominant for the trait, then there would be no chances of their offspring having that condition, but the offspring would be heterozygous. This is called a carrier, but remember, only the dominant trait shows up.
We only have a few more words to review. I will start by discussing what a phenotype is. It is the physical appearance of a trait, such as blue eyes, dark hair, curly hair, or the ability to roll the tongue or a widow's peak. All of these characteristics, or traits, are observable. A genotype actually determines the phenotype that an organism shows. The genotype is actually just the two-letter combination